I'm going to talk about the greatest problem mankind has to face. I do not mean the greatest problem that any man may have to face. Personal problems are individual. They differ with every one of us. But I mean the greatest problem that is before our race as a whole. And that is how we are to get rid of the old governments that we have worn out and that we have grown out of. Now perhaps that may jar a little upon your ideas that we can grow out of governments. That is the idea that I want to put before you now. Now if you will cast your mind over the whole course of history, I think you will realize there has been a continual change, a continual expansion in the size of human communities. The savage was only able to get at his fellow man by shouts, by acts of violence, by gestures, lived in small communities, no larger than the villages of today. But as history develops, the communities grow, and they grow always concurrently with the development of the means of communication. As the ass and the horse and the mule and above all the art of writing come into human affairs, governments grow larger. They extend their range because they bring more and more men into reach of each other. And throughout history, with the development of roads, of more efficient writing, with money as a means of commerce, in the development of shipping also, you'll find the size of communities increasing. And in the last 150 years, there has been an enormous development in the facilities with which man can get at man. We've passed from the semaphore to the electric telegraph and the wires. We've passed from the stagecoach on the muddy high road to the aeroplane and the swift steamer. Just to illustrate my point, let me call your attention to some maps that I've had made for this talk. Here is one. This represents France in 1770. In this map, you have a series of concentric circles. The inner one about Paris shows the distance a marching army could do in a day. That's the maximum for an army to make in those days. The circle with dots here is the full day's journey of a good coach journey. It's a coach journey under favorable conditions. Here, this outer circle is the distance a message could do in a day carried by courier under good conditions. And here, the kind of romantic line suggests the utmost thing a man could do, a Dick Turpin, riding under the very best conditions, could just make from Paris to the coast. Now, a country under these conditions was a very comfortable one to govern and a very comfortable one to defend. It subsisted almost entirely on its own produce, and any invader who advanced into it had to have his supplies coming up at this slow pace. He was at a continually increasing disadvantage as he got nearer and nearer the center of the country. But now compare with this. Here is France in 1930. I had to draw it very much smaller because man has grown so much larger. This dotted line here is not a 24-hour journey for a man, it's a 12-hour journey by aeroplane. I couldn't get in the 24-hour circle. And look at this circle here. That is the effective bombing range from Paris. A bombing aeroplane can start from Paris drop a bomb anywhere within that circle and return safely in a day. And conversely, remember, a bombing plane starting from anywhere in this circle can reach Paris and return. The conditions are altogether different. And, see, a much larger portion of North Africa has been joined on to the French area. It would have been impossible to administer that area conveniently from Paris in 1770. It's the easiest thing in the world to administer it in 1930. Now I think you will see what I mean when I say that all our present governments are misfits. If anybody had to plan sovereign governments for the world today, you would never dream of dividing them up into such small areas as France and England have become. And if you will think over the political history of the last 100 years or so, I think you will realize that a great part of our conflicts is due to this fact that almost all the governments of the world are too tight for the communities they control. What, for example, was the Great War but an attempt of Germany to expand against almost intolerable restrictions? And what is the nature of most of our international troubles today? Look at this map of Europe. Look at the condition of things here. Look at these little countries all jammed against each other. It is as reasonable to expect them to live at peace together today as it would be to expect cats and dogs in a bed to keep the peace together. Here they are. Now notice this white area which I have superimposed upon this map of Europe. That, some of you will recognize, that is the size and the shape of the United States of America, with no military and political tensions within its borders, with free trade from end to end of that area. Consider the difference in conditions between America and Europe at the present time. And even this area, I think, does not represent the ultimate size of the possible human government, the necessary human government in the future. You see, it would be as easy today to govern the whole world so far as mechanism goes, and to keep the whole world together in one community as it was to keep France together in one secure community in 1770. The problem before mankind, therefore, is to achieve that larger type of government in the place of the governments that exist today. It is possible. It's also becoming supremely necessary, for every year increases the facility with which men can injure and destroy each other round and about the earth. That is the problem before us. But for my own part, I have no doubt of the issue. In the end, man will solve the problem and will escape from patchwork government altogether. In the end, the logic of our necessities will prevail, and the collective affairs of mankind will be controlled by one single federal government, which will have continually increasing powers. I believe that. I believe it as surely as I believe that spring will come again next year.